Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 51 of Powerbombshells. I am Sam. That is Mel. Thank you for joining us for our inaugural Super Bowl pre show.
Pre. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
There's so much Super Bowl coverage on this morning. It's
Hey,
kind of
Brad.
ridiculous.
It is. And I was like, we didn't realize that the Fox pre show started at the exact same time our live stream did. But I was like, well, we're still the pre show. We're the pre Puppy Bowl show because that starts at 2 o'clock. we're
I
we're the Rihanna
maintain
hype
my
show.
original. I maintain my original argument that we have better hair than Terry Bradshaw,
We
and
do
that
have
puts
better
that
hair than
as a
Terry Bradshaw,
significant advantage.
so we win.
We win. Winner. Hey, Brad. Word. Thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
I'm looking forward to all the people who are cooler than the rest of us who hate the Super Bowl and can't wait to tweet about it because those are my favorite people. They're the same people on WrestleMania weekend who come down on us wrestling fans for enjoying that too.
Right, or during the World Series when the people they complain about how Big Bang Theory is getting cut into, even though there are repeats that have been out for 10 years.
For like 38 years, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's always funny to me. My favorite, it's just like, I love that there's like a whole community of people that just feel it necessary to make sure that we understand that they don't give a crap about the Super Bowl.
Right.
It's like, thanks.
Okay.
Thanks. Updates.
Breaking news. Now I can carry on with my life. Thank you for letting me know.
We all have differing interests. Holy cow. We're talking about Super Bowls on wrestling shows.
Right. Listen, we have a wide variety of things that we are into. So
true. Which is why you should join our Discord, which has lots of Discord channels, which have lots of different things we're into, and also lots of stuff that we're also wrestling into. So
right.
We finally got a Discord, Fight Game Media, and because we don't want to go crazy, we are doing the thing where if you want to grab it and jump in there, just give Garrett an email at gg@fightgamemedia.com and he will go ahead and let you in. That's sort of how we're mounting it right now.
Yeah.
Or I'm not saying that, you might have a friend that on the Discord who might be able to help you in, but I'm not in any way suggesting you shouldn't go directly to Garrett at gg@fightgamemedia.com and we're just trying to make sure that it's cool people that are in there that aren't going to be mean and hateful and rude and stupid and are just, it's kind of a transitional because Facebook has, ambiguous, like for no apparent reason, just decided that Garrett can't be on there, and we all want to talk to him.
And he's been gone for. They've kicked him off like what 2 months ago at this point.
It's been months now.
It's been a while. So Discord is where he's at, and he wants to be there. Yeah, and you probably, if you go to Discord, you might avoid people talking about how much they hate the halftime show.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah, that's today. That's that one thing. I hate the Super Bowl. Brad says that he's enjoyed the Discord a lot so far. Well, that's
me too.
Good.
I'm a big advocate. I've actually been kind of banging the drum here at Fight Game Media for a while. Pretty. It's kind of funny to watch everyone that I told, like, we should try it and you'll like it and you'll get used to it. I'll be like, I kind of like it and I'm getting used to it. And
I'm not on the Discord train yet. I don't have one, so I guess I have to get one now.
If you're a gamer, you get it because you understand general chat. And it was designed by game people because all the internal gaming stuff was dumb. Mm-hmm. But it's a really fun way to branch out and just have, like, it's a lot of fun. It's like Slack, but it's like a fun Slack. And one of my absolute favorite features about Discord is they have the best in-thread reply platform, in my opinion. Nice. Where you can talk directly to the person's comment that you were talking to without a bunch of tagging and bagging.
Oh, that's good.
So
yeah, because Slack has a lot of that.
And they Jeremy and Anthony did a fantastic job setting it up. There's a channel for everything. There's a channel for every show. It's great. It's fun. If you're new to Discord, check it out. It's just discord.com. You sign up. It's a server thing. If you have any questions, reach out. Like, I'm happy to help anybody from Fight Game Media that's into it, that's tweeting about it or talking about it on social. We'll help you out. It's easy. Once you're in there, it's because, like, if you're able to, like, log on to YouTube and comment on our show, you'll be fine.
Right.
You can do Discord.
Right. So Brad said it's great on show days for even more instant reactions and posting on Facebook and more interactions than on Twitter. Nice.
Agreed.
Yeah. And if you follow me on Twitter, you know that that's where I am at during, especially on Wednesdays and Fridays.
If you can put your tweeters in the Discord channel that you're talking about and have whole conversations with people, which is fun.
That sounds interesting. It might be a little hard on Wednesdays because Wednesdays as one of my shifts for SC Scoops, I've been having to figure out when to tweet and especially when I'm writing articles. I'm like, no, I want to tweet about what's happening. And then I have to go back and be like, sorry, I was working on an article. This is what I wanted to say 10 minutes ago.
This is like a
nice problem to have.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah. And we get to, it's nice to, like, I feel like the group we already have on the Facebook, that's a lot of fun people kind of migrating over there. Some people are new to it, some people aren't, and then we're getting some new folks that'll check it out. And excuse me, gosh, we'll still use the Facebook obviously, but if you want to do Discord, just give Garrett a quick shout. And I think you'll like it too, because I think it's a format that you will be able to jump right in on and totally, and just more ways to talk about all the stuff we like. Yeah. So I'll probably wind up over there. I'm not super active in the Facebook group just because I'm not super active on Facebook. Active on Facebook anyway. I usually am just there to post my articles, and I have a blog that has the Facebook page, so I post stuff over there. But that's pretty much it. I talk to people sometimes, but I'm not a huge Facebook. I bet you would engage this more. Probably. It sounds like it. Sounds like it probably would. I bet you would. It might be dangerous, so beware. Oh no. You might like it too much. Another app to be addicted to, just what I need. Oh yeah. Just like there's a cool function. You can mute channels for short periods of time. So when you're working, you can just mute the channel and make sure you don't you're not tempted, because you won't get the notifications. That way you can still get notifications if you want to, but you don't. But you can be like, okay, I'm turning this off for the next. Like, it's really cool if you don't want any spoilers, you don't want any conversation. We are doing spoiler tags, but it's really cool if you want that, because you can just mute the channel for 24 hours. You're fine. You just like it. It's good. Yeah. But anyway, sounds like a good putting over the Discord. Huge. All right. So I guess since we are doing a Super Bowl pre-show, we will talk a little bit about Super Bowl related things, maybe even the Puppy Bowl. I do have my TV on so that when the Super Bowl or when the Puppy Bowl comes on, I can look up and maybe we'll make some Puppy Bowl commentary in between our wrestling. But yeah, so do you have any predictions for the Super Bowl? I have no predictions whatsoever. My boldest prediction is that it could actually end up being a pretty good football game, considering the matchup. Like, it's a weirdly it seems like it'll be a close thing. And my loyalties lie with my Bird Bros in the Philly area, which I actually have very good friends in the Philadelphia area. Nice. So it's a plus. It's like, all right, well, if it can't be my team, Bird Bros, cool. gotta love you. Yeah, so I've been heart picking everything. I'm all like, EAGLES. My gut, like when I saw the matchup, my gut was like Eagles, and so my boss and I, because we play, we've been playing in an industry. Yes, you have a reason to pay attention. Yeah, and then but then we also do it, Brad. Brad said his prediction is no matter if the Eagles win or lose, their fans will still be awful. And he noted that he is a Giants fan. Oh, NFC folks.
But yeah, so my boss and I have been going back and forth for days trying to figure it out because we were like, it's really close, and we play like the office, like, so we have one that's just like the office pool party, and then there's the industry one that we've been doing all season, and so like there's money on the line in both, but in the industry one there's more money on the line. So he's been like, so we finally picked. So we just went, we're like, let's do Eagles. We're going to do Eagles across the board. Like because we originally were going to do like, we were going to put points on each one. That way we'd have like, we do one with the Chiefs and then one with the Eagles. And then we decided to do Eagles across the board. So then last night I'm like out doing stuff, like running errands. And he was like, Jalen Hurts has a shoulder injury. And I was like, he's had one. We've talked about this like literally every single time. I've told you he's had a shoulder injury. Patrick Mahomes has a high ankle sprain. They both played through it and have gotten to the Super Bowl. It could be an issue for like
there's injuries on both sides.
Yeah. I was like, we've talked about this like multiple times. And then I was like, we can change it. I said, but I am out. So it will be a while before I get home and can make any changes. Let's just stick with what we got. 11 o'clock this morning. Do you want to make he was like, are you still good with what we picked? And I was like, it locked at 8 a.m. Eastern. I was like, we're done. This is what we have to go with.
You can't do that, man. At some point, you gotta like cut yourself off, and
that's exactly what I did. Like when I emailed the commissioner when I submitted our picks on Friday, I was done. I was like, okay, I'm good, and I wasn't gonna think any more about it. But he is just like, I'm like, you can change it if you want to, but I'm living my life right now. Like,
so. Oh my gosh, he must have a terrible time if he plays fantasy football. He's on the last day, like, oh my god, what have I done?
This was, he picked me to be his. Usually, it's a different coworker that is his fantasy football partner, but this year he decided it was going to be me, and it's been quite the journey.
It's kind of fun to do. Like it's fun to do stuff because it makes you interested in the league larger and all these things. But
because I mean, as much as I do,
I don't know if I could play like me and my fantasy squad. That's cool. Like I can manage that stress. I don't know if I have another human.
That's a lot. It was because as much as I enjoy football and I do like it, I'm a much bigger baseball fan, and so like I play fantasy baseball. I've been playing fantasy baseball for years, and we don't play for money. Well, I have played in money leagues, but I currently don't play in a money league. But I know much more about the player. Like with football, I am nowhere near, like I don't know players nearly as well as I do baseball. And so it's definitely, and he's like, well, you like sports a lot. And I'm like, yeah, but baseball is my thing. Like football, I'm not as good. That's just not. And so that's another reason, like I enjoy playing fantasy football is so I can learn more about players and things like that. But I'm still like nowhere near into it as much as I am baseball. And so I keep trying to explain to him. I mean, it's been fun. So really, I just hope the Eagles win just so he will relax a little bit. So tomorrow when I talk to him and be like, oh, we should have went the other way. So I'm like, I need the Eagles to come through.
Come on. Let's go, Philly.
I am excited for the halftime show. I'm really excited for Rihanna. I really like her a lot. I love her music.
You've been talking about this more, like this is funny because you've been talking about this for like months. So
and it was really, it's interesting because I was reading something the other day because she has the halftime show will be 13 minutes. That's what she's got, and she said she's made like 39 different playlists. I'm one or like not set lists. And I was like, I don't know if it's because they're trying to keep things from leaking out or what they're doing, but I was like, and they were talking about how she had to cram 17 years into 13. I was like, has it been 17 years since she first came on? I was like, I guess so. I guess that makes sense. I was like, I was like, it doesn't seem like it's been that long. And so I was talking because the other day, Jim, who you've been on, I believe, did you end up doing Jim's podcast?
We talked about it. We could not hook up. Like it just never quite matched up.
Yeah, so I was talking to him, and he thought originally when he read my tweet where we were talking about the Super Bowl pre-show, we were talking about the Rihanna hype show, and he was like, he thought we were doing a show like just on the Super Bowl and Rihanna, and I was like, no, we'll actually talk about wrestling. But for the people who see Super Bowl pre-show and they come check us out, I was like, we'll reel them in by talking about the Super Bowl, and then we'll just throw out the wrestling.
Throw out the wrestling.
Yeah. So
So
we were talking about the halftime show, and he was like, "Are there any songs that you want her to sing, and any that you hope she doesn't sing?" And I was like, I think she'll go, like, I think she'll start out, I think she'll include some of her early stuff, like, that got her there. I was like, obviously, Umbrella's a given. Like, you can't not. That's her encore song. You can't not do that. I was like, I'm sure she'll do, like, Pond to Replay, which was her first really big hit when she first came out. And I was like, and she'll probably do SOS. I was like, she'll probably not do some of the slower jams, which I like a lot of her slower. I love, like, a lot of her music, but her slower stuff, I was like, she'll probably, because it's a Super Bowl, they'll probably get away from that. And he said that I could put he was like, you can put this on your podcast if you want to. So he says that he, wait, actually, I thought I put it in these notes. I put them in a different notes. Hang on, I'll tell you. Right. So Jim says that he hopes that she does Diamonds, and which I think that's pretty much a given. That was a huge song for her. And SOS. And then he said that he hopes that she does not do Love the Way You Lie and Unfaithful, which was funny because Unfaithful is one of mine and Nikki's favorite songs of hers, but it's kind of a mid-tempo thing. And we were like, and because of the lyrics, I was like, probably not gonna make the cut. But it was funny because I was like, me and Nikki were like, man, I hope she doesn't. He was like, nah, I hate that song. I hope it's not on there. I was like, so we'll probably see a lot of that. Not only people complaining about what the people who don't like the Rihanna halftime show, they're probably going to complain about what gets cut into the Rihanna, what gets cut and what gets performed. So we were looking because usually they'll confirm who their guests are going to be, but apparently I think ASAP will be there, who's just her fiance. I'm sure he will probably be involved. And then there's rumors that T.I. is going to be there, and there was somebody else. And then I heard apparently they were saying she had brand influencers that are going to be, that I guess they're brand ambassadors for her makeup and her lingerie line. Well, it's not just lingerie. It's like now it's expanded to like other clothing. So basically her clothing line and her makeup line. I guess she had people out and they went to a concert, and it was and she took them to see Drake. And so apparently they think Drake might be there. So Daza said, sorry, he's late. He's been traumatized by the men bleeding everywhere on Wednesday's Dynamite.
Oh no. They've got
poor
another
Daza.
one.
I'm glad that you could make it. I'm sorry that you were traumatized by all the men bleeding.
Sorry.
God, how terrible.
There were a lot.
He's staying up for movie trailers during the Super Bowl. Yeah. What are the big, I would
imagine that Marvel's got to be dropping an Ant-Man and Wasp new one, right? I would imagine, and then maybe
what are the big ones?
Teaser for, I think. Oh, I'm going to get this wrong, and I'm going to get a lot of shit for it. But here I go, everyone. After Ant-Man and Wasp, I think it's Guardians of the Galaxy. So,
okay,
they might get it. We might get a tease for, and I think that's Guardians 3.
Right.
It could be.
I was like, that seems right. They always have, and then there's always like some.
Bob's watching right now. He's like, no, it's this one. It's like, I'm sorry. I know we're going to Ant-Man and Wasp like next.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I knew that was coming, and then I wonder.
I'm excited for that one though, because I've really liked the Ant-Man series, and they've gotten timey-wimey now, which. The timey-wimey Marvel timelines are annoying, but there's some good characters. So,
Daza said, hopefully the new Captain Marvel first look will be featured.
Oh yeah, Daza, you're like the super movie buff. You would know. So listen to Daza, folks, on this one.
Yeah, I don't. The superhero movies are not the things that I have watched, but I do love Paul Rudd. So. I'm always for Paul Rudd being on my TV. So,
well, he's great.
But yeah, and I didn't think about that. Yeah, so I'm sure there will be, because usually they'll hype it up and be like, tune into and then they make you come in and like they play it in like the third quarter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love those. Those are hilarious. It's hilarious to watch the really die hard. Yeah, I was just gonna that was the next thing I was gonna say, Brad. He says I think Mandalorian should be getting a new trailer, and that would line up because I think that's November drop, so that would make sense.
Yep.
Is anybody else
ready to show a Mandalorian on? What were you talking about? Were they about to show it aren't they showing The Mandalorian somewhere? The one that's already out. Aren't they showing it not on Disney? Aren't they moving it to another channel?
Oh, are they going to show season 1 on a new...
I thought that's what you guys were talking about in Slack the other day, that there was going to be a Mandalorian.
It would not surprise
that they were
me.
airing it somewhere. I guess because it's been out long enough.
To get people signed
up. Was it like
for...
ABC? I don't know if it was ABC or something like that.
Well, that would make sense since they're part of the... That's the whole...
Right.
ABC, Disney, ESPN, all of those are all. So it
I
might be on
I saw something about that the other day. I could be completely wrong, but I thought that was the conversation.
It would be smart because this, I believe, would be season 4, and that would be a heck of a way to get people to sign up for the next iteration to get the...
I don't know if that's... I mean, because I was in and out of that because, like I said, because I don't watch that. I was like in and out of what... I was just kind of scanning what was coming across my phone because that chat is very active, and it was just, I was like, sure. And so I was just kind of scanning it, and I was like, watch, it's like a game of telephone. I probably got the information incorrect. I'm probably very wrong about that.
Okay, you got me. I got your back on that one. That one, those are in my wheelhouse. I'm totally into that, especially the Star Wars stuff. And I have to ask this if anybody else is into the Pedro Pascal escorting magic children TV memes as I am right now, because I just think they're hilarious. It's very fun. There's a whole because he is in The Mandalorian. He's also in The Last of Us, and so
I see him all over my Twitter.
It's cracking me up. Someone made that comment in our. It felt like someone made that comment in our Discord, and then all these memes started. It raised that flag for me, and now I'm just like, I love it. Oh, nice! That would be fantastic. Daza says Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse may get a trailer. I am down to see that. You just put Spider-Man on it, and I'm there. Highly pro Spider-Man. So
there could be
there'll be something for everything in the advertisement.
I think we're getting the return of the M&Ms, because it turned out to that thing with the stuff that they were doing with Maya Rudolph was actually it was related to a Super Bowl commercial, and so that the M&Ms actually did not go away. So I'm sure there were some people crying on Twitter about how there's an M&M wearing.
No, I thought they were making the M&Ms all girls, and then they were going to do
like the Spice Girls.
I swear that I read a little blurb somewhere along the line that they had decided that they were going to do instead of having all boys and one girl, they were going to have just all girls.
I thought it was 2 women or 2 girls that they were having, but I don't know. They kept, because they were talking about how the Maya Rudolph stuff was actually just
the Marvels. Watching those Marvel movies. Yes, I'm 100. What do you want from me?
That sounds like something I would call them.
There's so many levels to that show. Oh man, I love it. Oh, that works so much. I feel like we're both that meme, that Steve Rogers meme. I got that reference. So, see, at least
I actually used that in Slack the other day.
You like enough Avengers because you like the Avengers memes and GIFs, because some of them are quality, and that's a good one. So.
Yes.
Wow.
Maybe it's probably too early. I guess we won't have a trailer for whatever is going around with John Cena. Have you seen the pictures of John Cena in the black shirt, the plaid skirt, and he has thigh highs on and black high heels? Those 2 pictures have been going around all weekend, and nobody knows what he's filming. And so
I hope that's the new Peacemaker season.
It could, people have been trying to figure out what it is, but I think the consensus has been he can pull off thigh highs. Why has he been hiding those thighs under his jorts this whole time?
Actually, the Marvels is a real movie. Okay, why not? I mean, they're starting a whole new arc. I know. So,
but so John Cena. So maybe that is Peacemaker. But nobody has seen. They don't know what it's attached to. But those pictures I have seen all over my timeline for like 2 days, and then I saw it in another Slack this morning because apparently it made it there. So yeah, so nobody knows what John Cena is doing, but but yeah, so that'll be interesting. I guess it was too soon to get a trailer for whatever that is, but I am he has my attention for sure.
I wonder if like WWE will buy any or any wrestling companies will buy time during the Super Bowl. I wonder if
it wouldn't surprise me because it's on Fox, so I could definitely see it would be hilarious if AEW did, but
actually that would be worth it. Although the price that they quoted on Real Sports for Brian Gumbel was $7 million in spots.
Dude,
so
yeah, that's a lot. He's gonna just have to. Tony might have to go back to his Impact commercials, which I thoroughly enjoyed. When he bought time on Impact, and it was him and Tony Schiavone. I love those. I thought they were hysterical. That's one thing I miss from their relationship with Impact. I enjoyed those very much. So we've made it like almost a half an hour in. I guess we can get into some wrestling now.
Okay, all right, we'll talk about wrestling now. We have a little bit
look at us. Okay, Daza, hold on, not yet. Daza said Marvel's is Captain Marvel, Ms. Marvel, and another Captain Marvel.
Okay, that's a lot of Marvels.
So the Marvels.
Hence the Marvels. That makes sense. Okay, I'm into this. Sweet. I like Captain Marvel. She's been great. A lot of fun. Interesting. I like the girl they're setting up to be the new Captain Marvel is pretty cool too. So into that.
That's a good thing.
They've got they're doing the thing where they're rotating in younger actors and actresses because it's time because they're doing a new arc. And I mean,
Brett's marvelous.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right.
So
I guess we'll switch gears and we'll see how many people who tuned in for Super Bowl talk now leave because we're switching because they didn't realize that picture at the front was Roman Reigns when he played football in college.
I love that. It took me a minute and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was looking. I was like, there's got to be. I really was hoping for like a picture of Danhausen or Orange Cassidy with the football, because I thought it would have been funny, and I couldn't find anything. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna use Roman Reigns. He played football in college. Well, let me see what I can find, and I found that Yellow Jacket one that I've seen a million. I was like, we'll go with that.
I liked it.
We'll acknowledge him from when he played football in college.
We acknowledge him.
We do acknowledge him.
I gotta be fair. I've been watching. Mel's still on her WWE.
I did watch Friday for. I flipped through other crap that I didn't want to see, but I did.
You're watching for the best part of the show right now.
Yeah, well, I got it.
You're watching all the Bloodline stuff, and
I got a tip to start to watch the beginning of the show, so I did. And then I was like, okay, well, they're going to do some more stuff. So we just kind of flipped back and forth and saw, because I was like, I'll keep up with the Bloodline stuff. And then I did see this morning. So Friday night, Paul made the reference. He told the Usos stay home because sometimes you can see things on TV that you don't see in the stadium. So Roman's clearly letting them know that he saw the stuff with Sammy, but everybody, the consensus, because from what we all understood, the Usos are not allowed into Canada anyway because of Jimmy's
pending.
But I saw a clip from that somebody posted in another Slack that said that Meltzer says they have both been cleared and can go to Canada. And Alvarez was like, "Are you sure?" And he was like, "Yeah, the last I checked, I was told they were both cleared." He's like, "I'll check on it again." So if that is the case, that could definitely make Friday and Saturday very interesting if the Usos actually can go to Canada and then they can show up and do some things. And if Jay is gonna do the turn on Sammy at the Elimination Chamber, which has been one of the rumors, looks like it could potentially happen now. So that'd
be interesting only because up till now, any of the hardcores, like the fans don't usually know as much.
Yeah.
But like,
sorry if we just spoiled that for you.
Yeah, right. Us hardcores have just assumed like, well, of course they're staying home because they have to, because they can't just one of them go and whatever. So like,
so it sounds like they both are cleared to go.
Interesting.
According to what Meltzer has put out as of, and like he said he will double check again to make sure that is correct. But from what he reported on the show, because I watched a clip, he says from his understanding they are both cleared to be in Canada.
They're letting UFOs in, so I guess they can.
Yeah, they are letting UFOs, or the UFOs. Maybe the UFOs are letting the Usos into Canada. Maybe that's what all that was about yesterday.
Maybe they finally proved that borders are a bunch of crap. So, I don't know. Whatever.
Maybe so.
Ooh, so controversial take. All right, so let's.
Super into Elimination Chamber, but I was like, I'll probably check it out because I really want to watch.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it because I obviously am gonna watch it.
It's the same time. Is it the same time as Battle in the Valley?
It may be, but I don't care because I'm not buying Battle in the Valley.
I will probably buy Battle in the Valley.
You can buy it.
I will probably most likely buy it. I'm leaning towards it. I probably will because it's like $20. So I was like, oh, I can. Yeah, so I will most likely buy it. That could change, but I didn't think about that until literally just now that those I think are on at the same time.
I can kind of wait for the Strong, and I get it.
Behind on Strong. I'm still good. I'm gonna still watch the stuff I need to watch, but I will probably. There's a good chance I will watch that on Saturday. That I will watch it live.
I know I'll really enjoy it. I should. Hopefully the crowd is getting a freaking gift of a main event. You're welcome.
God. Yeah, we'll get to that.
But I think I'll probably stick. I got going the way of Elimination.
Yeah, because you're changing and you're keeping.
I'm doing part. I'm keeping up with the road, and I don't know.
you don't want to stray off the road and go down.
Yeah,
other things.
Exactly.
Stay on your path.
I got plenty of roads, man. Oh my god.
Stay on the path you're currently on. Don't let me tour you.
I got plenty sidetracked anyway. So I took the New Japan road. The King's Road. I took the King's Road a little bit this weekend.
There you go. I did. I have got to. So I didn't get to, which I guess we'll get to the New Japan's.
We can do that. I mean, we can actually go to what you wanted to talk about in the first place. We just kept getting sidetracked.
Yeah. See, look at us.
So we could follow our notes, or we could just fly by the seat of our pants.
I mean, it is live. We can do whatever we want.
It's our show.
It is our show. Hey, we've been doing it almost a year. As of next week.
Next week is our anniversary.
Yay, we made it. Almost.
We can throw ourselves a birthday party that only our parents will remember.
Exactly.
For clout.
Yes.
Sorry. Just that I'd throw that out there as a non-parent. Anyway.
So we're gonna go by our notes.
Let's go by our notes. We should talk about it. That's important because also that's a good update. It would be nice to update people.
Yeah. So if you watched several episodes, you would have seen where we had guests on. We had Adam and Matt from Title Belt Pro. They just started a new wrestling promotion that is community forward is the way that they're wording it. But it basically, they put on a wrestling show and it benefits a nonprofit, they're going to do different things like that. So their first show was about 3 weeks ago, and they were benefiting the Charlotte Rescue Mission, which helps unhoused people with job skills and things like that. So it was a really great organization that typically gets a lot of attention at Thanksgiving and Christmas because they provide meals for people who are unhoused. So I'm glad that they did something after that because, sorry, there's an AT&T person walking across my front yard.
Of course there is.
I was like, why? I'm in the middle of a live stream. Sure. Come if my dog starts barking, you'll know why. But
Miley is protecting the house.
She is protecting the house. But yeah, so they had a really great show, but unfortunately in the main event, Ethan Case, who was he's been wrestling for 19 years. He wrestled for my local promotion pretty much the entire 11 years that I was there. If it wasn't 11, it was like 8 or 9. So he's been there for a really long time. Oh, Spectrum. Sorry, Nikki. Nikki says it's Spectrum that's here. I can just see the van through. I can see a little bit of the van through the.
Just make sure Miley doesn't bark, Nikki. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, Nikki, that's your job. Which is it's our job every week to make sure Miley doesn't bark.
Very interactive show we have.
We do have a very interactive show, and I'm trying to talk about something serious, and here I am getting distracted by a man in a yellow jacket walking across my front yard. My blinds are not open, but I can see him through the little slats, so I just see this little yellow. Anyway. Back to this. Back to the important things. So unfortunately, during the main event of that show, Ethan Case was injured. And he was in the hospital for 5 days. They didn't really get any clear answers. He was having, he does have feeling in his arm and his leg, but he was having trouble moving it. He's back home in Columbia, South Carolina. They're trying to figure out next steps. So obviously he can't wrestle. He runs a wrestling school. They've temporarily closed the school down. Was the decision that they've made, unfortunately. So he has no income coming in, at least from his side of things. And his wife has income, but they're still struggling. They've got several children. So he has a GoFundMe, which has already raised $10,000. So the next Title Belt Pro show will go to benefit Ethan. It is going to be happening on March the 4th at Free Range Brewery, which is where the first show was at. And they've already announced 2 matches. And so to announce the show, they went ahead and announced the main event first, which was really cool. So the main event is Sean Legacy versus Lucky Ali. So this will be Lucky Ali's debut with title belt. Sean Legacy was at the last show and at the unofficial show they had at a Bari, which was the arcade bar back in December. And so that's going to be great. And I'm a Lucky Ali fan. I'm very excited to see him. And then they have also announced a second match, and it will be Workhorsemen will be returning, and they will be taking on the Flex. The Flex is a fairly new team. They are students of Ethan's. They had, when we saw them at a Bari in December, that was, I believe, D'Angelo, who is one of the members, it was his second show ever. so they're very new. They're actually they've improved a lot, and so their match last month was really good. So I'm really looking forward to seeing them. It's going to be interesting to see they're very much newcomers, and to see them against a veteran team like the Workhorsemen would be really interesting. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. And so there's going to be some more match announcements, but so I'm really excited about the show anyway. And then now I'm glad that, it's a way that that the wrestling community can help Ethan as well, besides the GoFundMe, and his students will get to showcase what they can do, which is really great. So I'm really looking forward to that show on March the 4th. So I'll definitely be talking about that more and I have posted about it on our Instagram, but I'll be tweeting some stuff about it too. I'll actually go ahead and I'll tweet the GoFundMe link again, because that's still. Yeah, I would have grabbed that. I should have thought about that. Yeah, well, no, and I'll make sure to get that on all of our stuff. Yeah, because this is gonna actually. We can also add it to our Powerbombshells Discord channel. Oh, we could. That is a very good idea. I will do that too once we have the links. Yeah, because we don't know right now, what his prognosis is, how long he's going to be out of action, how long the school is going to be closed down for right now. So this definitely the GoFundMe obviously will help him a lot, and then the show. So if you're in the Charlotte area, definitely recommend getting tickets to that. But I'll post information on our Twitter as well, so that you guys can keep up with that. And so, yeah, anytime I have Ethan updates, I'll definitely pass that along. But yes, I just wanted to give that quick update about that. Cool. And I am glad that they're at least doing that. So yeah, me too. Best wishes to him. So yes, definitely. One thing I am buying is Bloodsport 9 though, because holy. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that card just gets better and better with they just keep teasing out, and we only know of one match. The rest is just we're getting who's gonna be on the show, and then we're trying to figure out is this match what's gonna happen? I love that they're just announcing who's on the show. It's just we're just gonna tell you who's on it, and it's you guys are assholes. But
but I love it. I just
it seems a very Bloodsport thing to do.
It's I discovered them last year, and that was one of the first things that I like immediately.
Yeah, last year was my first Bloodsport show, and it was Mel and I. Yeah, if we last year we covered a lot of the indie stuff that was happening around that time, and that was one of the shows that Mel and I were both really into.
And by we, she means a lot, Sam, and like Mel did a bunch, but not nearly what Sam did.
That's okay.
That's okay.
That's all right.
I'm gonna dig up your last year. We'll compare last year's stats.
Yeah, I gotta compare how many
document here. We can compare last year's stats to this year's stats.
Yeah, because I'm already like I didn't make it. I was like, I'm not gonna make a schedule yet. I'm gonna wait until like
things are more.
I know more, and then now I'm already getting shows confused. Because WrestleCon is running at the same time, and then the ROH Supercard of Honor show is happening. I thought it was happening during Bloodsport. It's not Bloodsport. It's DDT versus GCW, but ROH. And so and then Spring Break is happening at there's 3 shows happening at the same time.
But that's okay because I can buy Bloodsport and I should get the other show on my Wrestle University.
Yeah. So
maybe. They might all be pay-per-views. I don't know.
So yeah, Bloodsport has I was trying to see, I saw that they had put together, but that's just 4 pictures, and I was like, did they have a picture of everybody who's been announced? Because I can't find it all. But and they're bringing back Lenny Leonard to do commentary for the show. They did announce that.
Retired. So he's unretired again.
I guess, or I don't know if he's just doing a special appearance for Bloodsport. Maybe I don't know that I don't know if he's calling any other shows. But yeah, so
Marina to Josh Barnett. Josh Barnett is the ultimate he just you know what it is? It's that he wants to bring UWF and UWFI back so bad.
Yeah.
This is like his homage to those shows back. Yeah. Oh god, they were so good. So funny. Yeah. My friend had me watch one day when we talked about it just because I had never seen them before. And
I haven't.
Oh, so much fun. It's so silly. Shoot wrestling is so much fun. It really is. And
that's probably why I liked that Bloodsport show last year so much. Because it's shoot wrestling, but it's still a work. So it's it's so great. There's something and I love the concept of because that was a mind blower for me with as much now that I've been analyzing the wrestling that I watch a little bit more closely. Not having a ring, it just changes the whole. It really does. Yeah, you don't really realize how much it does until you're like, oh, okay.
It's rearranging a chess. It's okay, we're gonna play chess. We're gonna rearrange the board a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Whoa,
exactly.
What?
Exactly. And it's the whole show. Where you instead of it just being one match, because a couple of weeks ago I talked about it. The Impact had a pit match, and it was Speedball versus Kenny King, and they didn't have ropes. That match was really good, but so this is an entire show,
right?
With no ropes. And so and his lineup so far, I don't know that he's done, but Marina Shafir is gonna be there. He did just announce Jeff Cobb has been
that's
added.
Right. I meant to
and so I was
I saw that and I was like, Jesus, just shut up and take my money.
Right. Yeah. I was like, you had my money already, but sure, I'll give you some more.
Jeff Cobb, you put Jeff Cobb on anything and I'm immediately 100%.
Yeah.
I own very few 8x10s. One of them is a very, very nice one that was gifted to me from a friend that was personalized by Mr. Jeff Cobb.
Oh, that's very cool. Jeff Cobb is amazing.
I treasure it. It's a wonderful thing.
That's awesome.
He's
so I'm very excited to see him. And then there's let's see who else is on here. Davey Richards just got announced.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so he'll be on there. JR Kratos is going to be on there, which JR Kratos had a really good match on last year's Bloodsport. That was great. Who else? Johnny Bloodsport will be there.
Of course. Because when it's in your name, you actually have to show up to the show.
Exactly.
Duh.
Yes, Timothy Thatcher will be on this show. And we talked about it last week that Ibushi versus Speedball is happening on this show. Like, if that doesn't scream take my money, Josh Barnett's like, here, I'm going to give you Jeff Cobb. I'll give you Davey Richards. I'm going to give you all of this stuff. And then he also, and before he actually announced this person, before he announced Jeff Cobb, but Jon Moxley is making his return.
Yeah, that guy.
Who wasn't supposed to be doing anything with GCW, but maybe because it's under Josh Barnett's umbrella. Or maybe because he's Jon Moxley and he just does what he wants. maybe he just texted Josh Barnett and was like, I want to be on Bloodsport.
Yep.
And so now I'm trying to figure out, I don't know if he's done announcing people, but I'm like, is Jon Moxley going to wrestle Timothy Thatcher? Is he going to wrestle? And it's not even wrestle, it's like fight.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to face.
Uh-oh, Sam, your thingy.
Sorry. Okay. My microphone.
The feud is the feud.
The feud has been reignited, I guess.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I think we're good now. Can you hear me?
Okay. I can hear you.
No crinklies. Good. Sorry about that. Crinkles in your ear. Brad said, oh, the mic is back for revenge.
Yeah, see?
It heard that we were talking about how we were going to handle wrestling this year. I mean, all the More Than Mania shows and how we talked about. And now it knows it's probably going to have to do more work. And so now it's already trying to sabotage me weeks in advance.
Oh, you mean when you're going to watch all that wrestling and try and talk about it?
Yeah, exactly. How rude of this microphone. But yeah, so Jon Moxley is back at Bloodsport. So that will be, which is great because we talked about it last week. The Jon Moxley needs shows like this.
Yeah.
Because that's just how the man operates. He needs it, like he needs air.
I wish, like, I think the answer to the like whole situation is just like let him do this stuff on the indies and then he won't have to bleed so much on the show and then you all get what you want. And then
he won't have to offend Daza with so much bleeding.
Yeah,
God. Think about Daza, will you, Moxley?
Will you think about the innocent Dazas?
Jesus. So has there been, I haven't heard anything. Has there been any update with Scrapper Mania?
I have not heard a
Are they still
thing.
advertising him?
The last thing I saw was that they were advertising him, and the last thing that I knew was that they were advertising him.
I mean, so
I have not pushed the issue because there was a lot of anger. So I just didn't want to. I kind of wanted to let that. You don't kick a hornet's nest. You know what I'm saying?
No, you don't. But I did see that we had somebody follow us after that clip, and they, I think, are in Dublin, and they were like, "Yeah, we want to know what's going on." And they were like, and they tagged Tony, and we're like, "Can you tell us? Are we getting Jon Moxley?" And I was like, "Oh boy."
Well, I'm glad that we started something. I mean, at least, and
the people need answers.
Wow.
So maybe that's what the UFOs are there for. They are gonna send Jon Moxley to Dublin, and then they're gonna take him on his spaceship and bring him back for the house show the next day. Maybe that's what was going on yesterday.
And what I don't like about it, though, if you kind of look at it, and I know everyone's like, "Yay, house shows!" He did the same thing for a bunch of the shows that were the indie shows that were booked for the WrestleMania weekend stuff, though, too. He pulled a whole bunch of people off of those shows to do AEW house shows. Like, they were announced.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it wasn't a whole bunch, but it was like 4 people that were all already supposed to be on other shows.
Yeah. Well, I saw he pulled some people from Beyond Wrestling so that they could do Ring of Honor tapings. He pulled, but they thought it was Willow originally, and then they said no. But I think Willow is AEW side, not ROH, because she got the All Elite.
Yeah,
graphic.
You guys were talking about that, and I can't.
Yeah, I think Willow is. I think she's the AEW side of things, since she got the graphic. Because Blake Christian never got the graphic, but it was kind of because he was supposed to be on the ROH side of things, which he. And so I think that's why Willow was not pulled from that. But I mean, I understand that AEW/ROH comes first. Brad says yes. And so, of course, yeah. So he pulled Wheeler, which obviously Wheeler is currently
and Trish
the
Adora,
ROH.
that was the other.
Yeah, Willow is Willow. Willow is not currently the pure champion. However, I would not be mad if she was.
Wheeler is
the current ROH pure champion, so I'm not surprised he got pulled. Hot Sauce Tracy Williams got pulled, and Trisha Dora, who are associated with the ROH side of things.
Is Hot Sauce AEW?
No, he's ROH.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know if I don't even know if Tracy is contracted.
You know what's so funny about him is the very first show we saw here at our local promotion spot where we used to go. He was on. Tracy Williams was wrestling on that show as Hot Sauce, and Bob is like a major Hot Sauce fan, so we should have bought the T-shirt that night, and we didn't. And we will never not buy merch because of Tracy Williams. But it was so funny because we saw him that night, and then the next time we saw him was like 2 or 3 years later at the ROH Supercard at Madison Square Garden, and I was like, okay, this is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But he was back to just wrestling as Tracy Williams, so like the two of us were like just rooting for Hot Sauce.
For the longest time, because I didn't see him very often, and I forgot what his because I always just called him Hot Sauce, and my friends always called him Hot Sauce. And for the longest time, I would be like, "What the hell is his real?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, Tracy Williams," because he was always just Hot Sauce. And I was like, "What was his name?" So Daza says maybe the guy in yellow on your garden is from the UFOs. It all makes sense now, Daza.
Scary.
He's masquerading as a Spectrum person, but he's actually from the UFOs. And then Daza said, imagine if aliens actually hacked into our TVs to look at our culture when they saw things like wrestling and slap fight.
Well,
they're never going to come back. They're going to leave us. They're like, nope, you know what? Just let them destroy themselves and slap fight.
I think that's why they're only throwing their cheap ass UFOs at us at this point. They're like, this planet is ridiculous. This is like, literally this for them is like playing asteroids. It's right. Like this is like where their version of the Atari 2600. They're like, oh, we're just gonna throw some of this. Watch these little peons shoot our stuff down here, and then they'll just go away and stop. Or maybe it's a huge distraction from other things that are troubling people. What?
Could be a little bit of both.
What?
Could be a little bit of both.
But I think what's more important is that MLW premiered on Tuesday.
Yes, it did.
And I nearly missed it, but I made it. And I enjoyed myself. And I'm really glad that it seems that it had an awesome premiere.
Yeah, it sounds like it did pretty good. And it was cool to see like some of our friends supporting James and doing the live tweeting, using the MLW Underground hashtag. So I thought that was cool because we obviously supporting wrestling, but James is, if you missed last week's episode, James does the real social media. And so he does an excellent job with the On Patrol stuff. And so, we were trying to show him some love with the MLW Underground. And it sounds like they did. I don't know what I never did. I don't know if he reported what the social media numbers were. But I saw some of our friends live tweeting. So I thought that was really cool to support him like that. And then even though James did try to, I thought he was going to come through the phone and fight Nikki because I had tweeted that Nikki had asked if we could change the channel, and it was because Enzo was on. And she was like, can we change the channel? And he saw it later, and he said, Nikki, how dare you? And she was like, we would have turned it back. And so we compromised and we just muted it because I was like, I can't listen to Enzo. And there was way too much. That's my biggest complaint.
But it was the first day and they'll show other ones. So
yeah, but I was like, this hour has too much Enzo in it.
Yeah.
Although the highlight of the show for me was Mance Warner knocking him out in like 5 seconds. And that was great. That was
I retweeted that match was starting and that I was excited about it because again I was on the thread and Mance I got a heart from good old Mance there.
Oh, that's
so
good.
I was like, rad. I got to see him wrestle the Briscoes. Oh,
yeah, I saw him. Really I saw him in the match. Oh yeah, I saw him at GCW. He was against
GCW
Revolt and a Bloody George South and John Wayne Murdoch and
a classic North Carolina match.
Match was insane. Yeah. Oh, and then Lucky and Bojack made their they were in that match as well. Match was insane. Man. I love the match. It was insane. But yeah. So I just saw him a couple weeks ago. But yeah. So I am looking forward I was like, oh hell yeah, a Manson a street fight, and then they were like against Enzo, and I was like, oh. I was like, I'm very excited that I get to see Mance, but I have to sit through Enzo to get to it. But I think it was Mike said that he's okay with if Enzo runs his mouth and then his characters that he runs his mouth and then gets beat up for it. So I was like, yeah, I guess that'll work. But the main event was really cool. It was Alex Hammerstone versus
Jacob Fatu, right?
No, that's coming up. No, it was Naduka, I believe is how you pronounce. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly.
I think you are.
Yeah, that was I enjoyed that match. That was fun. And so yeah, and then I think next week Alex Hammerstone versus Jacob Fatu. I know that's coming up. I can't remember. I don't remember if that's.
I think it got moved around from what I thought it was.
I think it did get moved around because I think the big thing next week is the street fight.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I will not be able to live tweet that show because I will be at a concert, but I do plan on watching it and I will hashtag it then. But I'm looking forward to watching MLW. I haven't watched probably in 3 or 4 years. It's whenever they were doing the stuff with Sami Callihan and Jim Cornette, and I was like, I'm not watching Jim Cornette. So I'm out.
Yeah, it's completely understandable.
Yeah, so I quit. That's when I quit watching, and I haven't watched since. I mean, I've seen things because I follow MLW on Twitter, so I've seen things here and there. Like I have an idea of kind of what's going on, and I did see that they are gonna bring in. I don't know when because I don't. They have shows on Thursdays, which I guess is like when they live. I don't know if those are their live shows, and then MLW is like I think they pre-tape what's on
I think MLW Underground, the Tuesday night one, are like old. They're either old matches or pre-tape matches.
Yeah, I think they're pre-taped matches. But I did see that they're bringing in Billy Starks for one of their Thursday shows. So that is cool to see. So yeah, I saw a friend of mine was like they didn't have any women on the first episode, but then I saw MSL responded and was like, give us time, like we're trying to figure out how to get people on TV and to feature them, but you know we do have women. Obviously Taya Valkyrie is their featherweight champion, so they do have a bit of a women's division, and so that'll be interesting to see how much TV time they get and how they're presented and things like that. So I'm definitely looking forward to see how they present the women. But I enjoyed the first show. I thought it was. I mean, there were some complaints about like production and stuff like that, which I get, but I mean, I think it'll be fine. It kind of reminds me of like early TNA stuff when they were like just trying to. I mean, they're trying to get their footing and things like that.
I mean, they didn't like there were all kinds of issues like with their production and presentation and stuff anyway. So I think that it's just a matter of like they get this stuff off the ground and then they start to format their show accordingly.
Right. I think
so. They're trying to get. I think more than anything, they're trying to drum up interest
to TV. So, and Brad said he thinks the Thursday show is on the Pro Wrestling TV streaming app. Yeah, that sounds right. So thank you, Brad. I think that is correct. And so, yeah, I saw something about Billy Starks is coming up, or she's already. Cool. I don't know if she was on this past Thursday's episode or she will be on an upcoming Thursday episode, but I saw something about her making her PWT debut, which is nice to see because I got to see Billy like 3 times last week because I think I was catching up on Dark. So she's been on Dark and Elevation a few times recently.
Right. I keep meaning to. Yeah,
she's had some solid matches. She wrestled Emi Sakura, which is hard for Emi Sakura to have a bad match. But yeah, so that was, and Billy looked great. And Billy she wrestled Britt Baker a couple weeks ago, made her nose bleed, but I guess because it was on YouTube, so nobody cared that a woman was bleeding during a match.
Weird.
Funny how that happens.
Weird.
But yeah. But yeah, so MLW, I'm looking forward. So that will probably, I plan to keep that in my Tuesday night routine.
Definitely. Yeah. Plus, like James said, it gets kind of lonely when you're tweeting by yourself. So
yeah, absolutely. That's
definitely tune in and at least hang out with him because he's good people.
Oh no, I can't live stream next Tuesday. But I was like, well, when I do watch it, I'll make sure I use the hashtag so that people will see.
Yep, that hashtag. The hashtag did help. It helped me just to keep things like. I like it because it just shows you the next thing up on that.
Right. Yeah.
Keeps you off the main line. So
yes.
Twitter can be useful.
It can be sometimes.
Right.
So I guess we will switch gears over to some New Japan, because it seems like they've been having some shows that I am behind on, and I was
gonna ask where you were on there.
Yeah, so
that's why I made that completely ambiguous in the notes.
I appreciate that, even though it was spoiled for me. 2 things were spoiled for me in the Fight Game Media Slack yesterday. Like, well, Twitter, I saw something, so I had an idea of what happened with the loser leaves Japan match. But then I found out what the main event for Battle in the Valley is, and I was like, oh, well, I know who won the main event.
Right.
So that got spoiled for me. But
I think Mike Gilbert is currently taking an appropriate amount of heat for being the guy to come in and spoil it in the Fight Game Media group.
I feel the worst. All the love in the world. Paul was literally starting the show and it got spoiled. I was like, I knew I wasn't getting to it until sometime last night. So I was like, I'm probably going to get spoiled either by Slack or Twitter. And that's exactly what happened. But poor Paul was literally, he was like, I'm just now starting the show. And I was like, oh no, he's starting it. But yeah, it happens. I mean, that's just the nature of how these things work. And so I knew that somebody was covering it for SC Scoop. So I was like, I'm going to try not to go into that Slack because my shift's not till later. I'm going to try to avoid it. And then it didn't matter anyway, because I mean, it's what happens with New Japan. I'm forever being spoiled. So, I mean, it is what it is.
There's almost no way to stay caught up unless you were to watch live, which is like, I'm sorry, physically impossible for me. So I'm not I still have not. I have said
every day last week, I was like, gotta watch Zack Sabre Jr. Gotta watch. Still have not gotten to
that Zack Sabre EC match. Man.
I will get to it. I
know you will. I know.
I don't think how, obviously with it being Super Bowl Sunday, I probably will not get to it today, but I want to see that Zack Sabre Jr. match. And then you told me the match after. You said the match after it I needed to watch as well.
No, the post.
Oh,
I missed. I was like, I wonder if that made sense. But
okay,
keep it on after the match.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because there's some, probably, and I don't want to go any further because it's so wonderful.
I appreciate that.
And that was how. Literally, that was sort of how I went with the way that my friend put it to me. Was just like stick around afterwards.
Okay.
And that's it. I was like, okay. And then, yeah.
Yeah. And so since
I love TMDK with Zack Sabre as the boss and Ichiban Sweet Boy and this entire situation. This is my favorite thing in New Japan right now. I want Zack to
check it out because I'm already a TMDK fan.
Of course, now they've
added Zack, and I love Zack Sabre Jr. So now that he's involved.
He's leaning into that. It's so great. He is just
perfect. Yeah,
he's great. He really does.
Love Zack. I love him.
Yes,
I really need to get caught up with
my
that.
absolute favorite moment still was when he said, I have my own young boy, F.E. Moxley.
Oh my God. And then he said something to Jon Moxley in the case. Oh, I can't remember, but yeah, he was like, I have so we were saying that it needs to be Zack and wait, who did he take as his young boy?
It's Fujita. Fujita.
Yeah, it needs to be him and Fujita against Mox and Shota now.
That's
gotta happen at Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
Sorry, we know you wanted Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson, but now we have to get to the young boy versus and their dad's match.
And Fujita's no slouch either. He's good. No. So it's fun. It's good.
He picked a good son.
Clearly, his wrestling son is going to be quite exciting. Actually, Shota could be going places coming up here too.
Shota is
the New Japan Cup is coming
in the last year and a half.
And they're starting to highlight him, and they put him in main event matches with this new beginning stuff. And I mean, yeah.
Brad says the SJ showing Fujita how to properly apply moves during a match has made for a great entertainment. Oh, it sounds super entertaining, and I have got to get caught up because I need to see it.
Oh God, Zack is magical when he comes. When he hits on something, whether it was when he was going through his anti Boris Johnson stuff was some of like that summer was like it made that whole like
the George Michael stuff. Like
God, we love the George Michael stuff.
The George Michael stuff. And then when Lawler got in on it and was like doing the George that it's great.
He's just awesome. And then I know he's a great wrestler too. And then all the Japanese crowds.
Zach is one of those people we've talked about. Like I've been watching him for several years, and I'm always impressed during his matches. I'm always like, it's like I haven't been watching him for years, and I still every single time I'm like, he's just so impressive. He's such a great. Brad says George Michael sucks. Filthy Tom. Yes. Speaking of Filthy Tom, I meant to bring this up when we were talking about Bloodsport. The match announcement for WrestleCon, the Prestige Wrestling show that will be on at the same time as the ROH show. So I think WrestleCon, I'm going to have to move those shows to after that weekend. Trying to figure the schedule out. So that's the show that I think that's the same show that has Aja Kong versus Masha on it. But then they announced Team Filthy versus the Time Splitters and Ultimo Dragon.
That's right.
What?
I saw that.
The
tweet.
hell? What?
That's gonna be a lot of
and that's literally what I tweeted was, excuse me, what? What is this match? What are we doing? Oh my God. So I was like trying to figure out. So yesterday we were trying to figure, I was like, okay, so that show was on at what time? And that's during the ROH Supercard. And it's during, I think that's also DDT Pro X GCW, like that show. So I'm like, I was like, so now I'm really going to have to look at the schedule and figure stuff out. So WrestleCon shows may get moved to like the day after WrestleMania. I'm trying to figure out how the schedule, and because they're on the West Coast, obviously we're 3 hours ahead. And so I'm not going to be able to watch a lot of stuff live. I'm going to have to go back and watch things. So I'm going to have
it's going to be weird with them being on the Pacific Coast time zone.
I'm going to have to figure out schedules. And we've talked about, I guess maybe we're not going to do shorts because Garrett didn't seem too big on the shorts, but I may just have to come on and do like a 5 or 10 minute update on what I've watched. And then at the end of everything in the live stream at the end, we'll just talk about favorite matches or favorite moments or something like that. We're still working that out, and we'll obviously as we get closer we'll get that figured out.
As long as you're following us, and if you're subscribed to our channel and we go live, you'll get the little update as long as you get the notification. But otherwise we tweet a lot, and we are going to be putting it in all the channels and on the Facebook and
now apparently on Discord too. So
in that we have our own Discord channel.
Yay! Okay, so I just wanted to make that quick side note since we were talking about Filthy Tom, and I forgot to bring that up because I was like, oh my God. So I was like, what is, so I could, and then I was like, of course I'm excited about Time Splitter. So I don't know if Chris Sabin, because he doesn't really take a whole lot of indie bookings. So I don't know if he's just like, if he'll have a match somewhere else on the card, or if he's just going to be like watching from backstage.
Maybe he'll take this one off. He's about $1 million. Maybe he'll just enjoy it. Maybe he'll watch.
Maybe he will, because then like over on Impact, because they are Motor City 2 belts, and they're actually gonna have they might be Motor City 3 belts, because they're gonna wrestle at GCW for the titles in Atlantic City. And then on Impact, they're wrestling so it's gonna be Motor City and Kushida versus ABC, which is Chris Bay and Ace Austin and Kenta.
Oh wow.
Oh my God, getting overloaded. And I think this is the match that will be on Impact. I don't think that's I don't know, is that a I can't remember if that's a multiverse match or if that's an Impact TV match for next week. I don't remember that. I think I was like,
you would know better than me. I
just watched Impact last night. You would think I would remember, but I don't know.
Well, you have a lot going on.
But so since we started New Beginnings so late last night, we had to skip matches, which we're going to go back and watch some things. So if you want to talk about whatever you watched, and then I can chime in on what I watched and what I saw. Because the first thing that I saw was, we were skipping ahead, and Nikki saw Leo Rush, which I had heard something about this. So I saw the Leo. So we rewound it back. So I saw the Leo Rush video where he challenged Haramu. Right. And so that was the first thing I saw from last night's show, or yesterday morning's show. But I don't know if you want to talk about what happened before that match. There was any, I don't know if there was anything you wanted to talk about with those.
Well, I didn't want to get into it too much if you hadn't seen it. Like, I just wanted to, like, and I didn't know I'm definitely going to go back and watch the Jay White conversation at all.
Well, yeah. So
but we can, I mean, a lot of people are already weighing in. My feeling is like, there's a lot of talk. And
well, and we addressed a few weeks ago when the match was announced what we thought was going to happen, and that's what I still believe. So we'll get to that in a second. But so I'm actually really. So has Leo versus Haramu? That's never happened before, correct?
It's not happened to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, that's the way I took. What
they're trying. Haramu especially is trying to push for bigger matches because he's trying to get the juniors on a heavyweight card.
Good.
So
yeah, because I know he wants.
And he wrestled great. Like Taichi has like found a new speed lately, and he's been doing really well. And like all of his matches.
Yeah, even with at Wrestle Kingdom when like Watto almost had it, and like Watto seems like he's been operating on a.
Watto's match from yesterday was actually really watchable. So like, I mean, yesterday's all the way around, yesterday's show was really good.
Oh yeah, I was annoyed really at fun. I was like, man, I want to watch this, but I don't have that. Like, I'm not gonna be able to make it up until 4 a.m. So
it's one of those things where it's like, I was thinking on one day when I was watching the first show, I was like, oh, like I got done and I looked and I was like, oh, Shingo and Okada, and I was like, oh, I've seen that match a lot lately and it's always good and whatever. And then I was like, wait a minute, you haven't seen it in front of a full house in Osaka,
right?
And I was like, stop. What are you doing?
The crowd
watch this. And I mean, the crowd, the dimension of having the Japanese fans back in the building in all the ways, like everybody better look out because New Japan is back.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. I saw Paul say that he was like, if you didn't think Wrestle Kingdom brought them back, then the New Beginning shows have brought them back. So Brad says Suzuki, who has always been a fan favorite due to being awesome, is now a white meat babyface, and it's amazing to see. Yeah, I am definitely making sure I go back and watch that trios match. And I know that I saw what happened. I mean, I obviously sort of skipping ahead. I saw what happened, but I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I just don't want to until you've seen a lot of this stuff and we can really dissect it. I want to I don't want to spoil too much. I just want to say that in general, I wanted to make sure we touched on the fact that get caught up with New Japan because not just me telling you that, but everyone who's, if you've been someone like me where you maybe aren't as caught up or you haven't been watching or you decided to let go of your subscription for a while, if you have the means, pick it up. It's definitely the time. It's getting better. Yeah. And we're getting into we've got Genesis and Dontaku and Dominion, which is one of the best Wrestle Kingdom shows of the year.
Dominion is always really great. And then
there's always fun, some fun swerve at Dominion or some it's. Yeah.
So they're really hitting. They're really.
And that means the G1 is gonna be.
I cannot freaking wait for that.
But the New Japan Cup is coming up, and start fantasy booking that in your head.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm very interested to see where Leo versus Haramu happens.
Yeah,
because I don't know if this is gonna be a strong because there's gonna be a couple. There's Capital Collision and what's the show in Philly called? I always forget the name of it, but there's the one in Philly, and then there's Capital Collision that are a few weeks apart. So I don't know if it's gonna be on one of these shows or if Leo is coming for New Japan Cup. Or coming for if he's coming over and they're gonna have it on one of maybe they have it on Genesis or something like that. I don't know. They haven't said yet where this match is happening, but I cannot wait. And oh my god, when Naito made Milano pull his mask down to prove that he was not Leo Rush. It popped me so hard. Oh god, that was great. And then he's telling Haramu yeah, he might be here. You need to Brandon says NJPW strong, Eagles suck. That's the name of the Philly show.
We got a lot of NFC East folks in there.
I'm hoping they're going to add Charlotte to that list. I hope that they came last July. So I'm like, hopefully we'll get a show next summer. I'm hoping, because that was a lot of fun. But yeah, and it'll go with the NFC East and South type of stuff. I did watch Tana versus Kenta. Nikki said she was just saying that Naito is a treasure.
He is.
Like, I always talk about how Haramu is a treasure because he is, but Naito is a treasure too. And I saw, well, we'll get to the what happened today stuff, because I saw a little bit of that. So we'll get to that part. But yeah, so Tana versus Kenta was good stuff. Poor old Tana. Missing some teeth.
Those protein bars, man.
He bit into a protein bar and lost 3 front teeth. Man would not open his mouth. Was like keeping it closed. And then
what I think is so interesting about that is that a friend told me who knocked them out, or somebody said who knocked them out, but it's
then he had because I heard
they're actually not real.
He had Fossey's in, and then
that's what happened.
Brad, I thought that too when I saw a picture of Mark Briscoe last night on AEW.
That would be kind of awesome.
Yeah, let's make
Mark
that happen.
Briscoe and Tanahashi tagging together would actually be a lot of
book that for Forbidden Door.
Let's do that.
Let's make it happen. And Brad says that Naito might be the most charismatic wrestler in the world right now. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with that. Naito's great.
I can't pick someone right off the top of my head that I can argue.
Haramu just oozes charisma. He's like that 24/7. But Naito has charisma. Naito's charisma is different, but it's Naito just has this presence about him with his charisma, which is why they work so well in LIJ. Nikki said, "Give them snack puddings," because quick story. The Briscoes were in PWX a few years ago, and I don't remember who. Nikki and I can't remember who they were wrestling, but somebody gave them chocolate pudding snack packs, and they just rip the lids off and just suck them out of the container. And so obviously Mark has no teeth in the front, and so it was a very interesting sight. And so now I associate that with him. Every time I see him, I think of the snack packs. So it was definitely, and I cannot remember who they wrestled, because the Briscoes came to PWX a few times. I don't remember who. Nikki says Revolt, probably. That's that sounds like something that would happen in a Revolt match. Oh boy. But yeah, so poor old Tana and his no teeth, and Kenta forcing him to open his mouth so that everybody could see that he didn't have teeth.
It's okay. You still got spectacular hair, Tana. It's all right.
He does.
No one was paying any attention to your teeth.
It was great. I love.
Plus, you're the ace of the universe. So.
You are the ace of the universe.
People are going to go around, because he's the ace of the universe, people are going to go around knocking out their front teeth so they can be
probably,
like Tana.
Especially now if he teams with Mark Briscoe, then they definitely are.
Of course. Wow.
No front teeth. Then they're going to change that Christmas song of "All I Want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth," and they're going to say "All I want for Christmas is my teeth knocked out."
Yeah. Like Tanahashi.
The
ace of the universe. That sounds like a really that could be a catchy Christmas tune.
It could be. I think so. Maybe we'll have Paul sing it for us.
There's
Hello,
Paul. Free ideas.
Gonna add Paul
every week, people. Every week
we give away all free good ideas.
We have the best ideas
now. Next, maybe we need a song. We need Paul to sing us a song next week.
Yeah,
like you come up with a song in a week?
I don't think you can do it in a week, but
we'll just play the Christmas song again.
Oh, it's because it's our 1 year anniversary, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Fun. Yeah, it's too bad.
Well, if we can't do that, we'll just play the Christmas song again. It is on our audio feed. We have where you could just go directly to Paul's song.
Yes, that's a great, thank you for
we'll just
pointing that out. I left it up there for those of you, and there's both versions. There's the version we played on the show, and then the extended director's cut edition, which
it is
even better.
We'll have to tweet those links this week so that you can hear Paul's Christmas song, because that basically encapsulates Powerbombshells on our 1 year anniversary. So
wonderful.
It'll work out.
No one's ever written me a song for.
I know, me either. Wow,
so great.
So special.
I mean, it felt exactly.
So special.
One of the great many things that we will celebrate next week.
Yes, definitely. So yes, we did. So of course, we did watch Jay White versus Hikuleo, and so I guess we will get into that discussion. If you have not seen the show,
all right. Wait, let's get. Okay, let me find the thing. Wait. So here you go, everyone. Here you go, Brad. Just for you, right there. We are about to talk about the Jay White versus Hikuleo loser leaves Japan match. Specifically worded, loser leaves Japan, not town, not New Japan, not whatever.
Yeah, the country of Japan.
The actual country. So
yep.
So they sent him packing, kicked his butt right out of there.
Yeah. So that was a really good match. I really enjoyed that. Hikuleo looked great. I thought that was there was just so much, and I think what really added to it was being able to hear Jay and Hikuleo communicating with each other, which was basically they were just cussing at each other and calling each other motherfuckers and stuff. That just added to it, and then like Jay was just like no selling chops because he just wouldn't let him have the satisfaction, and then he was working the knee, Hikuleo's knee a lot, and then obviously that comes back later on when Hikuleo's knee gives out after the body slam, and yeah, it was a really great story. And then of course Jay lost, and I think what's kind of getting lost in the conversation is that was a star-making moment for Hikuleo. Like that's the biggest match of his career. He sent a former IWGP heavyweight champion and a Grand Slam champion, like sent him packing. Like that's
a single-handedly sold out Madison Square Garden and the United Center.
He did. He's the last rock and roller, former host of the Today Show.
This is Jay White, folks.
Jay came to Jesus last night because Hikuleo sent him packing, and so I really hope that they are gonna follow up with Hikuleo. Like, isn't just gonna be his legacy as he's the one who made Jay White leave Japan. Like, I hope he's got more of an upside. Like, I hope that they follow through with him. Yes, the Catalyst. Yes, the Catalyst, exactly. He has so many nicknames. He has a shirt with them, I think, with all his stuff on there. But yeah, so I really hope that I'm interested to see what happens next with Hikuleo, because like, where do you go from here? Like, what is his next move? Like, how does he?
Well, now he has to kind of wrestle on big cards in Japan. Yeah. I think, right? I mean, we can't be sending him to Strong after this, and I mean,
they could have a summer of Hikuleo. Maybe they'll do
maybe he'll be in G1.
Maybe maybe the New Japan Cup. He'll be, he's got to be. Like, I think they've got to, like, if this is your guy who is sitting Jay White packing, like, you've got to follow up with that. No, he says, well, Nikki says, is it still his era though? Not according to Hikuleo. He said last night that it's a new beginning.
Is the Switchblade era over finally?
Yes, that's what he says, but which I
don't know.
I still live in the Switchblade era. Brad says that only outside of Japan is the Switchblade era. Listen, for me, I am still in the Switchblade era.
So I guess that we're technically still living in the Switchblade era here in North America.
Yes, because I am.
So, yeah.
So, what are your thoughts? What do you think they're doing with Jay White? What do you think? Do you think he's done with New Japan? Do you think he's going elsewhere? What do you think's happening?
I don't like the buzz about him going to WWE.
That's his buzz every damn January.
But it's so hard for me to believe that somebody like Jay White would. I mean, money's money, and maybe he wants some money, and maybe he wants to go play that field, maybe he wants to do whatever. He's not going to be able to do any of the stuff he's doing right now. Like,
no, especially because he who shall not be named is back. It's different than when
there's a sale going on, so you don't know who's going to own the property.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
I mean, exactly. I personally, this is just like a personal thing. Is like, because I've been in companies or been with someone who's been in companies when they've like changed hands, I would never apply to a company that was in the middle of a sale.
No, especially if the potential, and one of the potentials.
I don't care how much money.
Saudi Arabia.
Are they paying me in advance? Like, are they giving me my $7 million contract all at the front end? Because, like, whether because I don't want to be reliant.
Yeah.
I'm not going. Are you kidding? New Japan is a stable company. They're on their way back on the climb. You've got, with the crowds back in the building, that's changing it already. I mean, we've had a few shows with the full crowds, and people are already like signing back up.
Yeah.
They've had, and they had record signups just for Wrestle Kingdom without full capacity.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
So,
yeah, I'm in the same.
It makes more sense that he's gonna be the face of the company in North America, right?
Yeah. That's my same boat. Brad says the same thing. They think he thinks they're building new strong around him. That's what I think. As soon as this match was announced, because
maybe
they didn't clarify.
New Japan North America, period.
Yeah,
I mean,
back when this match was announced, that's what I said. I was like, they're saying loser leaves Japan. They're not saying loser leaves New Japan. Even though Kevin Kelly tried to say it twice last night, he was like, loser has to leave New Japan. And I was like, nope, that's not the name of the match. Nope. That's not the stipulation. The stipulation is the loser leaves Japan. So I don't
he's pretty smart. He's probably doing that to get.
I think he is. Like, yeah, he's seen Kevin. It. Yeah, but I don't think. I don't think he's leaving New Japan. He may disappear for a little bit. But I think I agree. I think they're building the brand around him, which is smart. To build around somebody like Jay White.
He's got a ton of I love hating that guy, and he's such a good wrestler. He's so
Jay White's
good.
My favorite.
He is by far.
Jay is my and I watched his post-match stuff, and he is just so good. And and that's what I was thinking. Like, I was watching that, and I was listening to what he was saying, and just like the way he was looking into the camera. But I was just like, he's not going to be able to do that in WWE.
He's not going to read. You see that guy reading a script?
No,
the guy that was running around you see that guy like not touching the audience or whatever. We're talking about a guy who ran around and made like a whole freaking part of his gimmick and off of like antagonizing the fact that the crowds couldn't make noise.
And then he leaves when I love that kind of that little bit, like he leaves when the crowds can come back.
Yeah,
which is funny. Yeah, and so Brad said Jay is my number one heel right now.
I bet you when he gets here, he'll say that the reason that they let people cheer is because of him.
Yeah. Oh, of course. You know he will.
Because of that very match. That was the reason.
What I thought was interesting was he was talking to Ghetto, and he was like, you can't come yet. I got to do this first. Like, because that's the thing. Like, they pointed out during the match, like, Jay is Ghetto's mail ticket. Like, what do they do with this? Like, he turned his back on Okada for Jay White, and they went on this 4-year journey, which was incredible. But I don't think it ends like this. And I don't know what they do with Ghetto, but I thought that was really interesting that they on Saturday at Battle of the Valley, he's still scheduled to face Eddie Kingston, and he talked to Eddie last night, and he cut a promo on Eddie and was saying he was coming for him. And so I'm really
he's not out of New Japan.
I do want to point out last night Eddie Kingston was supposed to wrestle Defy 6, but he did not. The way it was worded, it sounded like a potential injury, but I was reading some of the replies from other wrestlers, and they were saying get well. So I believe that Eddie was I guess he was not feeling well. Was not on the card last night, but it sounds like the match for Saturday is still on. So it doesn't sound like that's not happening, because Eddie quote tweeted Jay about him losing the match last night. So obviously, Eddie's going to play all into that. Yes. And Brad said he's interested to see what happens to the Bullet Club now. I am too, because because Bullet Club is everywhere. Always. And they're in. Yeah. Brad says they had a horrible show last night. Is Jay going to be kicked out as the leader? They need a Japanese leader present. So I think Jay will come here to be the leader. He'll have ABC with him. Kenta, it's interesting to see. Kenta's kind of the wild card, because Kenta wrestles here. He wrestles in Impact. He wrestles occasionally in AEW. He's wrestled a few times there. But I think Kenta could be the Japanese leader. I think that I think that's where unless they add another new member, which is possible, because they have 48 of them. It could definitely, and it was interesting because Jay was even saying last night, like, he was like, I told Bullet Club I needed to do this on my own. And so nobody was back there with him last night. It was just Geto, and then he sent Geto away. So it was just him. Like, he was like, I came here alone. I was he was like, I did a lot of stuff on my own, and then I found my Bullet Club family. So to him, it still is very much a family, but he seems like he needs to be on. So I think he will lead the American side of things. But for me, the front runner for the Japanese side of things is Kenta. But I don't.
That would be a good choice, though.
I think, personally, I would.
Yeah, for Bullet Club. Yeah, he's kind of perfect.
Yeah, so I think because Kenta is probably. Is he currently the longest tenured No, who else is? I'm trying to think. Is Kenta the longest tenured now? No, that's not Jay White, because obviously he kicked God out.
I don't know, because he came back at a weird time.
Yeah, so he did come back, and he's been there, but I think he was technically there longer than Ishii. Like, I don't see Ishimori being the leader.
No,
like, I love Ishimori. He's great, but it's not time for him to
I feel like Kenta's older and he has more experience, and Ishimori's he's too pretty and not.
He is too pretty.
he's too pretty to be like the leader of Bullet Club. He's got too much going on. Like,
that's why I think. Yeah, I feel like Kenta is gonna.
Kenta seems like, now that you're saying it, and I'm sitting here thinking about, like, that hardcore sort of strong style, old school, especially since, like, even Okada is leaning a little bit into that sort of, like, doing some kinds of matches that he hasn't done up till now, with the, like, spirit of Antonio Inoki sort of theme to the whole thing that's going on between them and Noah. And
so Brad says only Ishimori is really left in Japan outside of House of Torture, who are just not good. Facts.
House of Torture.
Facts.
So named
Evil is definitely
not
going to be. Evil is definitely not going to be. Like, I could see Evil trying to challenge Kenta, and maybe they have a match or some sort of thing like that. But no, Evil.
If they make Evil Bullet Club leader, I am out.
Kenta goes back and forth. ELP goes back and forth. Chase Owens and Fale aren't there much anymore. Yeah, and
maybe there's something we're missing.
Could be something we're missing. I mean, maybe they add another member. Maybe they add someone to be the leader.
Maybe someone from
maybe Jay sends somebody to.
I mean, maybe
he sends somebody, which then starts some stuff with Kenta, because Kenta is probably like, well, it's me. It's got I'm
because he can't go to Japan anymore, but he could totally go, and like, he could send agents in his stead.
Oh, he could. He could
be the mastermind behind Bullet Club on all continents.
He could.
And
that's what I don't think Jay's not done with New Japan. I don't
see it.
No, he's not.
He's allowed to wrestle the way he wants to wrestle and be the character he wants to be, and he's put in
that character
so much work, and he came up through their dojo system, and I just don't see. I don't see that being a thing. No. I mean, maybe he wants to, like, get some cash for a couple years and do that.
But I think they're signing. Everybody has to sign 5-year deals now. So I think that was the thing that was going around, that they have to sign 5-year deals.
I wouldn't sign more than
I mean, maybe if it's somebody they want bad enough, they'll let them do like a 3-year deal or a 2-year deal. But I think that's
1 year with an option is the best you're getting out of me at this point in wrestling. There's too much going on.
I don't see Jay tying himself to WWE for 5 years. I mean, I could be very wrong. Maybe he wants the money and he wants to stay stateside, but he can stay stateside and they can build strong around him. Like, why would you not want to be? I mean, maybe obviously if he wants to do something different, but he's spent 4 years invested into this Switchblade. They've invested all of this into him. I just don't see him. And I saw some people saying that if he went to AEW, he would just be another wrestler, which is possible. But he's Jay White, and so it's hard to. He's hard to ignore.
Like, he could literally be the guy in North America for New Japan. Yeah. He could be where we think of New Japan, North America, we think Jay White, and all the other. Like, he could help build the North American brand. I mean,
right.
He has an opportunity, and the company definitely seems behind him. So
right, and he can still do Impact stuff because obviously he did stuff with Impact last summer when he was doing the Summer of Jay. Obviously, Ace and Chris are there with him. He did the Jay and Bait Connection when they teamed up. Like they've done some stuff together. So I think
he's got matches that he hasn't had yet.
Yeah, Brad says he can be under New Japan contract and still show up in AEW when they need him. Exactly, and they could do.
He's had plenty of matches. Like the one thing that you also don't. This is just another thing. Is like just a totally. I just thought of like you don't get to wrestle whoever you want to if you're in WWE.
Right. Yeah. You wrestle the same match 18 times.
You wrestle who they tell you to wrestle, and you don't wrestle anybody else. There's matches out there for Jay White to have that I'm sure that Jay White might even want as a wrestler that he could never have on WWE. I mean, they're doing all that crossover stuff with the Noah guys, and those guys are good.
Yeah. Well, and then you also have you have this stuff with like Jay and Eddie. Like they have been kind of building the story for a while. I don't think this is going to be a one-off match with them on Saturday. This could be an interpromotional feud type of thing that leads to something else at Forbidden Door. Like, I think that this is a feud that can go on for a while with them. And I know that they are not going to necessarily, I mean, there's the argument of a heel versus heel, but I mean, Eddie Kingston's not really a heel.
Eddie Kingston's I think even Dave or Garrett used the term tweener.
He is. I mean,
and I was like, wow, I haven't heard that term in a while, but yep.
He is kind of maybe he's supposed to be a heel, but everybody loves him. And
but
so
we all just love him. So
we do love him. And I love him and I love Jay. So I'm all for Eddie Kingston and Jay White. Let them have a 7 match series. I'll sign up for that.
Let me try and talk here. Both these guys' matches.
I just hope everybody has fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what that match is. So yeah, and so Tama Tonga and ELP had, I mean, going back to the kind of the Bullet Club type of stuff, like Tama Tonga and ELP was great. That was a really great match. ELP, both he and Tama Tonga from the last year have both been like they've upped their game so much, and they play really well off of each other. I'm really glad to see Tama Tonga in this position where he's getting the solo attention. He's bringing it. Like he's lived up to, like he's not, I like that he shows that he's not just a tag team wrestler, and he's doing like, it was kind of weird getting used to him being a baby face in the beginning, but it's worked. And it's interesting to see kind of how Hikuleo will kind of factor into that. Like if he kind of not necessarily follows in his footsteps, but just, I like that dynamic there. But then ELP is just, he's on another level too. He's really upped his game the last year or so. So that's another feud that like,
well, he's a guy that I kind of used to roll through his matches sometimes, and now I'm like, stop.
Yeah, you gotta stop. Yeah, he's really upped his game.
Because he's been really, I mean, just, I don't know.
Yeah, I really liked that.
Stuff.
And then, so we did watch Okada versus Shingo, which was a fucking banger. It is a match we've seen a few times, but God.
Not like that.
No, last night
not with the actual, like, and Osaka is such a crazy town that it was, they finally got to have that match the way it was, like, meant to be.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it's been great every time without, but it finally
that's one of those
got
matches
to, like,
that you see and you know it's going to be good, and then it ends up being like 10 times better. Like that's how I felt last night, because I was like, oh, okay, Okada, like you said, like we've seen Okada Shingo, it's gonna be a solid match, it'll be good,
it's always good.
But then last night was just, I think that was probably their best one yet.
It's like, because you got the full atmosphere, you got the full dimension, the whole thing. It makes me, it just like warms my heart to watch these shows with the crowds just having, I knew I missed them, but it's like, they're so into it. They enjoy it so much. They're like, they're as excited as I am.
Yeah.
And they're like making all the noise and it's like, it's just so nice.
It is. Yeah, I think that just really added
so awesome. It's such a great way to get ready for spring, knowing that we're going into like New Japan Cup and G1 and all these great shows are coming up, and they're all gonna have Sumo Hall and Osaka Joe and
right.
Corkin,
all these great arenas. Yeah, and I think it was a little weird having Kevin and Chris not be there, and sometimes it sounded like they were in submarines talking. But I think one of the best moments was Chris was Shingo. I don't know if it's when Shingo hit the Rainmaker or Shingo did something, and Chris was so excited that you could not understand what he was yelling about. He didn't enunciate anything he said. And then Kevin Kelly's really excited, and that moment was great because Nikki and I were like sitting up. We were like, oh my god. Then Chris is just yelling unintelligible things, like you can't understand what he's saying. Like it was just a great moment, and I love that match. That match was so good. I really enjoyed that. And Shingo and I remember like Nikki and I talked about this last night, and I've talked about it before. Like when Shingo first joined LIJ, I didn't know who he was. I was not familiar with him at all. And I was like, okay, cool. And like I remember everybody was like making these guesses, and like everybody, at least in North America, was wrong. Like nobody in North America that I knew was guessing Shingo Takagi. But he is just, I've been so impressed with him since the first time I saw him. Like he's just incredible.
I love him.
He's amazing. So, and I was like, he's perfect for LIJ. Like he fits in with them so well. I was like, it's weird to even think of that LIJ existed before him because he fits in so well. And Shingo's just,
he's like that friend that feels like they've been family.
Exactly. Freaking love. I mean, of course, we're all Okada fans here, but I love Shingo.
It's New Japan's back to being like
where it was a few. Yeah.
I love everything, and I don't care. Like, I mean, again, I mean, as much as I love Zach, I love Ishii too. I was kind of like, I mean, however this plays out,
right? Yeah. Exactly.
Love it because it's just such a good match, and it'll always be a good story, and
yeah, and it feels like New Japan's getting to the point where they're having shows that I can't really skip anymore. Like I'm gonna have to start paying attention, or I'm gonna hope that they start putting individual matches back up so I can easily keep up. That's what I was hoping. I was like, man, I hope with this New Japan show that I gotta go back and watch, so I don't have to go back and fast forward to like skip to figure out what matches I've got to go back and watch. Like I know I have to go back and watch the Never Open Weight trios match, and I was like, I hope they just break it down for me. But yeah, New Japan
might start doing that again so they can put some on their YouTubes.
I hope so. And then after that, we had Okada challenge Tanahashi for Battle in the Valley next Saturday, and so that match is gonna be awesome.
Those people, winners. Congratulations, people who were smart enough to buy San Jose tickets.
Yeah.
I would have been one of those people. I wouldn't have cared who was on the freaking card.
Right.
And now I'm getting like a fan, and they're getting it in a really like a much smaller. It's not like a Little Caesars Arena or
not the United Center that Jay White sold out.
They're gonna get a great match in a great setting with a great atmosphere, and they better be loud. San Jose,
they gotta
be loud.
Yeah, and I've seen the hashtag, and I get the sentiment of that Mercedes and Kairi should main event.
Oh,
but you have to remember, this is New Japan. New Japan they are new to having women's wrestling. Like they have not had very many women's wrestling matches. New Japan does not see women the same way that we do. Unfortunately, that match is probably going to be one of the first matches on the card. It's probably going to be like maybe the third match. Brad said, what's your opinion on fans wanting IWGP women's title match over the main event of Okada and Tanahashi? And there's his answer. Like, I get it. On paper, Mercedes versus Kairi should main event anywhere else. Like, they would probably main event anywhere else. But New Japan does not view women's wrestling the same way. And so fans are going to have to, I know it's hard to accept, and I get it. And I obviously, as a women's wrestling fan, like, I get the sentiment. I understand like why that match should main event in anywhere but New Japan. But New Japan does not view women's matches like we do, and like
baby steps.
Yeah, it is. Having Mercedes there is huge. Like having the IWGP women's title match our championship, that's a huge step for New Japan. Like, I know it's 2023 and we're just now getting it, but that's a huge step for them. And I know the baby steps, like, especially when we have had to have baby steps in AEW, we've had to have baby steps in WWE, we have we have backtracking all the time in WWE and in AEW. Like, believe me, I get the frustrations. But New Japan's a little bit different. And I know there's some people who are not familiar with New Japan and are kind of getting more into it because of Mercedes being there, that's part of the reason they brought her in. That's bringing a whole new set of eyeballs to what they do. And unfortunately, that means that women's matches are going to be on the lower portion of the card just because they have to you have to also remember they're going to have to condition New Japan fans to accept women's wrestling. People who don't watch anything but New Japan, who don't watch Stardom, they don't watch TJPW, they don't watch Sendai, they don't watch anything else. Kind of like not necessarily the same sense of WWE where that's all that they watch, but New Japan, women's wrestling is treated completely different with them, and so that's something that it's extremely frustrating. I get it. I'm right there with you. But just watching New Japan over the last few years, like, I understand how they operate, and I understand there's no way, and I saw Brad make this point on Twitter last night, there's no way that Okada versus Tanahashi would not main event.
Of course.
Like, it's a IWGP heavyweight title match. That's your main event.
That's what's putting the asses in seats.
Yeah. Right. And I saw the argument, well, Okada didn't know his opponent until last night, which, yes, that is true. Yes, Mercedes and Kairi did help sell a lot of tickets. They sold like 400 and something tickets, like, within a couple of days of her. So I'm not diminishing anything Mercedes. Mercedes, that's incredible. Mercedes being on this card is a huge deal. Her wrestling Kairi is a huge deal. Kairi being on this card is a huge deal. But they were never going to main event, regardless of when this match was announced. That's just not how New Japan operates. Unfortunately, it's something you're going to have to learn to just get used to. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's just how New Japan runs things. Maybe once we get some strong shows going, maybe that is something that if they're running in North America, then maybe we do get Mercedes headlining.
Well, and this is a big deal, and it will be it is on a big show that it does have a major headline. So in that way, that's a big step in the right direction where we're saying we're going to have this on an actual New Japan card, not as a separate thing. And we're going to, so.
Yeah, because even back when they did the show in the Halloween shows that they did, they had women's shows on the pre-show.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they did, I think on the Thursday night show, I think they did have a women's match on the main card, but it was lower. It was like the second or third match in, which unfortunately I think will probably, if it's a New Japan branded show, it will be like, if it's not strong, even with some strong shows in the beginning, it's probably going to be the same way until they get fans used to women being associated with New Japan. So it's going to take a while. I know that's not the answer people want to hear, and I get the frustrations, but New Japan operates completely differently. Their fans operate differently. Some of them do. Some of the New Japan fans, they love women's wrestling just as much as we do. And they watch Stardom and they watch these other companies. They watch AEW and Impact, and they see this, but a lot of the Japanese fans don't. And so this is very new to them, and so it's going to be slow going. It's frustrating. So, but
they have the AEW on World now, which is true in both Japanese and English.
Right.
So seeing the women on the AEW shows, even as little as they do,
seeing them bleed
will help probably, because if people are interested in that product, they will be seeing the AEW ladies as well.
Right.
So that does help.
So Brad says, I think that they could be the semifinal match, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it as low as the third match on the card. Yeah, I would love them to be, the penultimate match on that card. But I am bracing myself for lower on the card just because New Japan doesn't view women's wrestling the same way that we do. And so it's going to take time. Yet.
Maybe later. Maybe
I hope
somewhere along the line.
Yes. So
it'll have a positive influence on the entire business.
Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to the Battle in the Valley card. So I will I was planning on buying it, and then I remembered Elimination Chamber, and I'm obviously watching for the Bloodline stuff. I don't really. I mean, I know there's the women's match that will determine Bianca's opponent. It seems to be Asuka. However, it's WWE, and I don't know that it will be Asuka. It should be, because Asuka versus Bianca would be a banger.
Well, it'd be great, but I don't know if that's just going to happen.
I won't be surprised if it's like Raquel.
I'm not like holding my breath on that one.
No, I'm thinking it could potentially be somebody like Raquel, maybe.
I mean, I haven't even like
Raquel is not WrestleMania ready, but they like her. They've pushed her. I think they could potentially. And Bianca, I did watch Bianca did an interview on Fightful that I watched the other day, and she said that they because somebody said, "Oh, you're like Miss WrestleMania," and she was like, "Oh, that means I have to three-peat." So her goal is to three-peat at WrestleMania, which I would love to see, because April the 2nd will make 1 full year that she's been champion. She is currently the longest reigning Black wrestler, male or female, to have a title, or I don't think it's just world title. I think it's any title. I could be wrong on that. So she's already making history. I'd love to see her three-peat. I don't know that but on the other hand, and also another thing with WWE and Asuka, I don't trust them with how they book her. Because we saw what she did in NXT, and we've seen how they've treated her on the main roster. And I would be afraid of them. I mean, she obviously should have a title. She should have had a title a long time ago. But we saw how they treated her when she was tag team champions with Charlotte. She wrestled like 3 times, and that was it. And I don't trust them to book her properly, especially now that VKM is back in the fold and how he views Asuka. And from rumors we've heard about how he doesn't see any appeal in her.
It's not his thing.
Yeah. So I just don't trust that. So yeah, I mean, Elimination Chamber, the main thing I'm looking forward to is obviously the Bloodline stuff. But I'm really interested in Battle of the Valley, so I might have to just watch Battle of the Valley and then maybe put Elimination Chamber on, because I think that's main eventing, right? I think so. They've got to close the show with Sami and Roman. So I was like, maybe I just pop in at the end or something. I don't know. But yeah, so Battle of the Valley I think will be great. I know it sucks that Mercedes is not gonna she's on
the card. That's a good start. Let's go with that.
It is a huge start. Positive, I know that's not the answer. I know that's not the answer a lot of people want to hear. But for people who aren't familiar with New Japan, this is a huge step for them. It will hopefully get better. Hopefully with the Strong going around and doing some, like, not necessarily house shows, but doing, they're changing their taping and stuff like that. But it's a step in the right direction. And I know it's a baby step, and I know it's super frustrating, but we're closer now than we were even a year ago. So there is that. So hopefully in a year from now, maybe we'll be talking about, the women getting maybe the 7th match. Maybe they will semi-main event, or maybe they semi-main event here in America. There's supposed to be, I think Mercedes is doing some Stardom dates. So, Mercedes is doing a lot, and what she's doing is huge, even if it doesn't feel that way in her presentation necessarily from New Japan. She's doing very huge things, and that I think has got to be remembered. That she is doing really important things, and it's a huge deal for her. Daza said, I'd be more excited for Mercedes mixing it up in Stardom. Sounds like a lot of people would be, Daza. And she's wanting to wrestle women who aren't in Stardom, but who are in Japan. So Mercedes could be I expect a lot of really big things from her. I think, not to put that pressure on her, but I feel like she wants to do a lot of really cool things, and she has these opportunities, and I'm really excited to see what she does. And I could see her doing some more she could she should be main eventing Stardom shows. I mean, the other women may not appreciate that because they've been working their asses off too, but I could see Mercedes, she'll definitely main event Stardom before she main events a New Japan show.
Probably, yeah.
Unfortunately, but yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so I think I think we hit all of our notes, even though we started to go off path a few times. I think we
I think we veered all back, and We hopefully we helped you guys kill some time before the big game, if you're even watching
before the Rihanna halftime show.
Before the Rihanna show.
Concert that's happening, or there's a football game happening around the Rihanna concert today. Or the movie, or if you're in Dawes' case, if you're staying up for movie trailers.
That's right. It's always a game, it's fun. It's camaraderie.
Thank you, Brad. Another marvelous show.
Hey, I see what you did there. That was good.
Yes. Well, last week, and we did update our Twitter bio with with Brad's
suggestion.
Yes, we did. Dawes says for the Marvels trailer. Yes. The Marvels.
Yeah, you guys.
But
you guys are marvelous.
You are marvelous.
And we do appreciate the fact that you hang out with us.
We do. And next week will be our marvelous 1-year anniversary show.
Yay! 1 year.
All right. So we've been talking about some ideas that we will have, and for what we're gonna do next week. I think we're gonna bring back the getting to know you section with at least maybe a question or two, and maybe we'll look back at some stuff. We'll put up Paul's song that he made for us. Dawes said he's rooting for Kansas, as that was his first trip to America. And because Kansas sings the Elite's theme song.
There you go. Oh, I get it. Yeah.
She's got
it. What? I don't think we can do any better than that. I think that's where we're gonna say goodnight.
Okay. But yeah, so please come celebrate our 1-year anniversary with us next week, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and now we have a Discord that you can email. I'll give you that email again. That is gg@fightgamemedia.com. Send him an email and he will add you to the Discord.
And if you forget that, you can always message us. And
we'll put it up on. I'll put it up on Twitter. And I'll put it in our Insta story, and I'll put some Title Belt Pro stuff up there too. But yeah, so thanks for hanging with us today for episode 51 for our very first Super Bowl pre-show, our Puppy Bowl pre-show, which is on now. I've looked up. It is 21:21, and there's a very cute white doggy on my TV. Oh wow, these songs are so cute. So it's time for us to go now.
Sam's distracted by puppies, so everybody have a good week. We'll see you next time.
Bye.